a project I am so excited about. So we're gonna work on my son's room and we're gonna add big bookcases, we're gonna add a fireplace, but on the fireplace, I really wanna do some fun tile. The tricky thing is tile is very permanent, and since he's 7, I need something that will grow up with him, because I thought about like him hand painting tiles, like kid art, that would be so fun, or like doing Beatrix Potter tiles. All those are a little too kiddish if he grows up in this space. So what I decided was to do a Delft tile in like a green, because that's his favorite color and that's what I'm painting everything. So we're gonna make those, and we're gonna use this process called sublimation, and it's a way to transfer an image from paper to, you know, fabric or wood or tile. So I've never done this before, but I thought it would be fun to try it together and see what we could come up with. Okay, let's talk supplies for this project. So you're going to need something that gets hot. For this project, we're going up to 400 degrees. So this is the easy press too. It goes up to 400 degrees. So you need a heat press to get that tile hot enough, because we're doing sublimation printing, which means you print on special paper with special ink, and then the heat transfers it onto the other material. So heat press, and then there's the heat mat. And you need this too, because this is what your tile is going to sit on. And it's also going to sit on parchment paper. This will protect your press and your mat, so you need some of that. I'm just using what I use for cooking in my kitchen. We have some heat resistant tape, and this is what we're gonna attach our paper on with this, so it doesn't move around, so we get a good transfer. And then we have these lamination pouches. We are using this super affordable tile from the Home Depot, but it has a glaze on it, it's shiny. So that means the ink will not stick to this. So what you have to do first is you have to laminate this, which will make it so there's a surface that it will stick to. The last thing we need is our design printed on sublimation paper with a sublimation printer. I don't have the paper, I don't have the printer, so I found a service on Etsy that you just send them your files and they print and ship your design to you, and they're fast, so that's really good. So I will link them in the description. To come up with my design, once I decided I wanted the Delft tile look, I just went on Etsy and I found some affordable graphics that I could use. Then I put them on my computer, and I decided she had pre-made ones that I really liked and that I thought would match my son's personality, so I just went with those. And then a few of them I customized with cats and dogs, since my son is an animal lover, but I still think these will look good once he's older. So I customized a few, and then I changed the color on all of them to be the green color, and I just tinted the graphics that she already had so it matches my color. Then I sent those to be printed. So now you know all the supplies you need. Okay, before we make the real tiles, we're gonna do a test because I've never made this before. So I'm gonna cut out a piece, tape it on a tile, get everything ready, and we're gonna see how it looks with no pressure in case I mess it up. I got a little ahead of myself. First, I need to put the lamination onto the tile. And I'm gonna cut the lamination to the same size as the tile, and I'm also gonna cut some parchment paper for above and below the tile. I put the parchment paper down, tile face up, the laminate face down, and then another piece of paper, and put it on the heat press on for 400 degrees at 120 seconds, and I hit that cricut button twice, so it goes for a total of 240 seconds. I took the heat press off, and then I pulled the parchment paper off, and there were a lot of bubbles, way more than I was expecting. So I pushed those off with this little scraper thing I had for my cricut, and that worked pretty good. And then I taped on the sublimation paper onto it. I don't have my heat gloves yet, so I'm using a hot pad, and that's kind of a pain. Okay, I did my test, and here's what I learned. Number one, you need to clean the tile really good. I think that's why my laminate didn't stick very well, as I didn't clean it good enough. Number two, I need to work harder to get those bubbles out. And I think I need to do another test to see if I can figure that part out, because like it kind of looks crappy if the bubbles are still in there. Number three, this is what they sent me, and this is the color that the tile turns out. And this is much more, the color after it subliminates is much brighter and stronger, and what I was thinking. So if you get in your, like after it prints, if the color looks off, don't worry, it'll come through better. So that's good to know. I also did a test where I didn't do the lamination. I just put the sublimation paper on top, and it didn't stick at all, like maybe a tiny bit in the corners. So you absolutely need the lamination if you do this process. I've been working on laminating these tiles and I finally have a process that I'm happy with, so I thought I would show you. Okay, I like to do 2 tiles at a time. And so I start with cleaning them, and I use an all-purpose cleaner. I spray them down, and then I just use a paper towel to wipe them. And you don't want to leave like dog hair, which I have a lot of at my house, or like any debris or dirt. So just because the tile is new does not mean it's clean. So give it a really good cleaning. And then I take my laminate pouches, and they come in like this thing where there's 2 stuck together. So this is why I do 2 at a time. Because if you unstick them and leave it like just hanging around, it'll attract dirt and then that one will be ruined. So we're not going to do that. So I am cutting out the laminate, and then I'm going to peel them apart. Well, I'm going to wipe it one more time just so that nothing came on it while I was doing that quick cut. And then I'm going to cover both of these with the laminate that I just cut, and those should keep each other clean. So you can press both of these. You could do 4 of them at a time, but that stresses me out too much. So we're just going to laminate 1 tile over here, and I'm putting it down. So I have my heat press. I have a piece of parchment paper, and you can reuse the same one over and over again. They kind of get brown, but they're still useful. So I put my tile down, and then I have another piece of parchment paper on top. And don't skip this step because it's like the plastic gets too hot and it gets curled up without this top piece. So you definitely want that. And it's preheated to 400 at 120 seconds. So we're gonna put it on top of here and push the Cricut button. And you're gonna leave this on here for 240 seconds. So you need to push the Cricut button twice. And honestly, I usually just leave mine and do something else because it's 4 minutes and it takes forever. But I will show you what I do at the end because it's different. Okay, so this is about ready to take off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start pushing it across the surface. And I found this helps get out the air bubbles. And the tile is rounded, so it doesn't want to stick on the sides. So I found this helps too. And you can even peek and be like, okay, where are there issues? I see issues down here. So I'm gonna push harder down here and try to get it all heated up. So I'll do this like 20 seconds before the timer goes off and just keep checking on it. And this really helps, and it's made a big difference in the air bubbles because I found if you have air bubbles, it's hard to get them out, and this is the easiest way. So you just kind of like massage the tile with your heat press. So I think that's good. I'm gonna put on my heat glove. This just arrived in the mail. Before that, I was just using a hot pad, and that worked totally fine. So I don't really think you need to buy them. And then where I have issues, I'm just gonna use this scraper. It's a Cricut scraper to smooth it out. And you can see that's too big of a bubble, so we've just gotta pop it with our X-Acto knife. And hopefully that will let the air out. And I've kind of found you don't want to push too hard because you can like damage the top of the laminate. So you just kind of want to like be pretty gentle with it and push it out. And then on all of the edges, you really want to push it down because, like I said, this is a rounded tile. It doesn't want to stick. So I push it down, and my Cricut scraper, it has been getting a little melted from this, so it's really hot. So you do it until you're happy with the amount of bubbles you have, and you want as few as possible. But some it won't be super obvious when the final graphic is on, but really, like, the smoother you can get it, the better it's gonna look. So that's kind of a big air bubble over here. So you just work on it, and sometimes I find, sometimes I find it's nice to like heat it up again if I have a section I can't get very good. So don't feel too scared to do that. You just don't want to put it on for too long. And you're just gonna work it until it looks good. This is really the most crucial step in having the tiles look professional. If you have bubbles, it'll be obvious and it'll look really bad. So make sure you take the time to do this correctly. Once the tile has cooled down, I like to take these little skinny scissors because they get close to the tile, and I just cut off the extra laminate. I like to start with one cut and then kind of just push it down so I'm not making little chops, which can be uneven. Note, if you do mess up with the lamination and it's kind of bubbly and does not look good, you can rip it off. And it takes some muscles and some time, and it will leave behind some like stickiness on the tile, so you just have to wash that with hot soap and water. But you don't have to waste your whole tile. You can rip that lamination right off. Okay, here's our finished tile. They're not perfect. I tried so hard. And here's one that I've already done, so let's subliminate the rest of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our print, and then we're going to tape it onto the tile. So the front of the print is going to face the lamination, and then we're going to turn it upside down and tape the paper onto the tile. And we're using this heat resistant tape. I put mine in a tape dispenser that was just using Scotch tape, and that has worked really well for me. So you take the tape it on the back, and then we will take it to the heat press. Okay, we're going to take our tile that's covered in our laminate. We're going to put the tile down, print on the top, another piece of parchment paper, and then we're going to put this on, and we're going to do the same heat we did as before with the laminate. So you're going to hit this twice, and then once you've hit that twice, we're going to let it dry. We're going to let it cool down for 20 minutes so we can touch it to reveal our tile. So this tile that we just finished, it is nice and cool, and look how good it looks. I really love that. So that's the finished product. I just have to make 18 more. My husband has been working on building this wall of shelves all week. You saw at the beginning the before pictures. It looks amazing, and I'm hoping by next week I have some progress to show you with this, and I'll also show you how we put the whole thing together. But I am finished with my tiles. I think they look so good. You can see they're going to go on the fireplace surround, and each one's different. And it was so fun to do. I think this project is really special because anybody can do it, and you can use any graphics, so it's so customizable. And you could use these as coasters too, so if you don't have something to tile like I did. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.